Good morning to my 1,711 YouTube channel subscribers. Hope you guys are having a nice weekend. It's Sunday morning. I'm on my way to church, walking to church now, and just wanted to do a video about the original Nintendo NES from 1985 and my experience buying a Nintendo and playing original Nintendo in 2025, the pros and the cons. So let's go ahead and start off with my experience that I've had with the Nintendo NES. I was lucky and fortunate enough to get a Nintendo. I believe it was for the Christmas of 1996. I'm sorry, excuse me, of December 25th of 1986, I believe it was. When they first came out, it seems like almost all kids in America got a Nintendo for Christmas because they came out in December and they sold them relatively cheap. When they first came out, I think it was like $100, and it came with Mario, and it was just nothing like the world have ever saw before that. Uh, the first, the only game system that was out before the Nintendo was the Atari 2600, and it was just a very basic gaming system. It didn't have really the graphics or the sound, or the Nintendo NES was 100 times more powerful than the Atari, which I believe the Atari came out in 1978. And so the Nintendo came out about 8 years later. And so now when I got the Nintendo, I believe it came with Mario, and I put Mario in, and it was just so fun to play. And as far as the game reliability, when I first got the Nintendo, it worked really good. Like, you put the game in, you push power, the game came on. It was no problem. But now after having the Nintendo for a year or two, you would have some issues with the dust getting into the game system. And then you would have to restart the game, blow in the cartridge, blow in the system, and play with it for a little bit to get it to work. And I remember that. And then I went on to buy a Super Nintendo, and then I bought I think it was a Super Nintendo, and then maybe I had the Nintendo 64. Can't remember. I had the Sony PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and the PlayStation 5, and that brings us up to the year 2025. So I have a lot, and I also had the Atari 2600. Good morning, Joanna. So I have a lot of experience with the gaming systems, and I had the Sony PlayStation 5 that I just sold a month or two ago. And then my girlfriend and I, we both wanted to play Mario again. We was like, let's get rid of this new system, and let's get us an original Nintendo. Well, I think she actually wanted the Super Nintendo, but we decided on getting the regular Nintendo first, because we both wanted to play Mario 3, and I wanted to play Zelda and all the other games that was on the Nintendo. I was like, wow, I really miss them games. So we went to the pawn shop that's close to the house, and they had a Nintendo for $70, and we went in there to buy it, and we was playing it, but the game wouldn't last longer than like a minute without crashing. And we was like, so we decided not to buy that game, but however, I got to play the game for a couple minutes, and it was so fun playing Mario. I couldn't believe how much funner it was. Way more fun than the PlayStation 5, in my opinion. Just because it was just a simpler, more enjoyable experience. And so we was like, okay, well, look, I said, so we decided we really wanted a reliable NES, original NES console. And so we ordered, so we looked on eBay. I probably spent 40 hours looking and researching all the different consoles on eBay. And it was like our top three that we had picked. And one of them was $255 plus tax. And the other one was like $150. And so we tried the $150 one, and we got that, and that's when it turned on. We did a live video that's on here. Our first Nintendo we ordered off of eBay, we plugged it in, couldn't get on. and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it had the blinking light of death. And I was like, you know what? So we just took that, sent that back, got a refund. Then we went and bought the $255 one, which we currently have now. And we got that, we got it to work. It took a little while. It took about an hour to figure out how to even get it to work, because you had to turn the power on, hit the reset button, take the game, move it left and right. And after you wiggle it around a little bit, then the Nintendo game would work. And then some of them wouldn't work, and you had to keep playing with it. You had to play with some of the games quite a bit, but now it seems like, oddly enough, the more we play with it, the easier it gets. Like Mario 3, for instance, or Duck Hunt, when we put them games in, they automatically work now. Now, one of the cons about the current Nintendo game system that we have now is that when you put the cartridge in the Nintendo and then you try to pull the game out, it almost gets stuck in there. And and that's the thing, we're actually thinking about sending that one back. We have until September 27th to decide if we want to send it back. But when the games work, they work really good. They don't crash. And but however, I think that within a few months, we're gonna put a game in there and the game's not gonna be able to get out. So we kind of worry about that. And so with that in mind, I did a bunch more research, and I seen that the Nintendo top loaders, because you have the ones that's like the original ones was like a VCR where you push the card in, you press down on the cartridge. And then they also got another one that came out afterwards. It's a top loader one where you put the game at the top of it. And they said them are way more reliable. Like, as soon as you put every game you put in there, you push the power button, it comes right on. They take way less maintenance. You ain't gonna have to take the game system apart to get the games to play. And so we ordered one of them. That came in the mail the other day, which we did another live box opening of that. And the RF adapter that goes in the back of the TV completely fell apart. So I would say one of the cons of the game system is that it's old and fragile. That would be on the con list. So however, I messaged the eBay seller, and he said that he refunded me $14, and I was able to buy another RF adapter from eBay, and that's in the mail now. Should be here Monday or Tuesday. And then once we get the RF adapter, we're gonna plug it in and see how that Nintendo works. And if that Nintendo is 100% reliable, where the games come in and out, you put the game in, the game works, then we're gonna keep that Nintendo, and we're gonna send the other Nintendo back to get a refund. Now the top loaded Nintendo, I only paid $115 for it. So so the top loader Nintendo, we only paid $115. If that works, that's going to be a blessing, because the other Nintendo we have right now, we paid $255 for. So we would be saving quite a bit money if this top loading Nintendo works. Now the con of the top loading Nintendo is that sometimes the graphics and the audio is not as good. However, I read that if it's a good connection to your TV, it could be hardly noticeable. So we get the RF adapter to plug it in, one, to see if the system works, if the console works or not, and then two, to see what the graphics are looking like, because they said a lot of times it could be like little wiggly lines in the screen, and the sound might not sound as good. And so our plan is, if the top loading Nintendo works and it's reliable, then and if it's hopefully, if there's not a noticeable difference between the graphics and the audio, then we're just gonna keep that one. That's gonna be our forever Nintendo. And then we're gonna send this other, the more expensive Nintendo, refund that, get that one sent back. Now, if our top loading Nintendo has a poor picture graphics, it has poor audio, we looked online where it's people that for like $40, $50, you could mail your top loader Nintendo and they could modify it and put an AV port on there And then so you'll have the really good picture quality, you'll have the really good audio, and you'll have a really reliable game system when you put the game in there, it just works. And so and that's what we're wanting. So I would say the con of it is trying to find when you kind of buying a NES original Nintendo that was made in 1985 and buying it in 2025. The number one issue is trying to find a system that's reliable and where the games easily play without, you know, because sometimes the console we got not right now, sometimes we could put the game in and push power and it comes right on. But sometimes it might take 5-10 minutes to get the game to work. And that's, you know, as an adult, that's really frustrating. Like 5-10 minutes to me, that's a long time. And so, but now the pros of the Nintendo, of buying the Nintendo in 2025 is, it is so fun to play. The games are way funner for whatever reason. The games are funner to look at, they're funner to play. And the audio is so good on them. And and then also another pro is that you don't have to have the internet to play the Nintendo, and you don't have to pay a monthly service like with the PlayStation. You have to pay $10 a month to play. And then also another pro with buying a NES Nintendo in 2025 is that the games are cheaper. Like all the games for the Nintendo are like $5-10. The most expensive ones we bought was like Mike Tyson's Punch Out and River City Ransom, and then we're like $35. However, for the PS5, all them games are like $70-80, you know, and then you have to pay another $10-15 a month to play them. Then you also have to have your internet. So that's a lot of pros and cons there. But overall, really love the Nintendo. And so what we plan on doing is we're gonna eventually, our end goal is to get a Nintendo that's 100% reliable. You put the game in there, it works. It has really good picture quality. It got really good audio, and then that'll be our forever Nintendo. And then we also plan on by December to buying a Super Nintendo. And so, because these old systems, they're really not much, you know, $100 or so. I think even the Super Nintendo is less expensive than the original Nintendo, probably because they made more of them. I'm not for sure. So that's the pros and cons of buying a Nintendo from 1985 and 2025. It does have its pros, it does have its cons. However, I'm way more satisfied owning an original NES Nintendo over a PlayStation 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next video. Bye.